Hi, everybody. Kimberly Ray here with Marine Conservation Network. Welcome aboard and thank you for joining us today. We have three wonderful, awesome women from the Sirene Project that we're going to introduce you today. And their project is by women, for women, all about women, focusing on the female aspect of marine conservation. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. I appreciate it. You guys are dry and on land for a few minutes. So we're going to start out. I want to start out by introducing Tatiana. Tatiana, tell us how you got involved in marine conservation and what started your passion for it.
Hi, I'm Tatiana, social media manager for the Sirene Project. So I got into conservation at a really young age. It's a little unorthodox. I was inspired by the movie Jaws. Most people would be afraid of it or they'll be inspired. It actually instilled a curiosity in me to want to learn more about sharks and rays instead of being afraid of them. So at an early age, a lot of my friends and family were introducing me to films and movies and books and a lot of things that would help me to learn more facts about sharks. I actually didn't officially get into marine conservation until I was in my early 20s, where I started college and I actually got involved at a local aquarium around St. Augustine. From there, I became an educator, teaching the public. I also volunteered with them a couple of times as a animal apprentice. So I was working with the aquarists, feeding and cleaning tanks with the animals.
You really got your feet wet, didn't you?
I did. I was also working across the street, volunteering at a sea turtle hospital. So from there, since I started college and started the aquarium, I took all the steps necessary to get more and more involved in the community.
Very good. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Andrea, I want to go to you now. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved in marine conservation?
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I am the project manager for the Sirene Project. I was born and raised in Honduras, a small country right in the heart of Central America. Growing up, both of my parents were huge nature lovers and they definitely instilled that love for nature in me. But we always had a special place in our hearts for the ocean. And when I grew up, after being exposed to the ocean and into different things, I decided that I wanted to become a marine biologist. Unfortunately, in Honduras, the closest thing to marine biology is a degree in biology. But I pursued that, and through my degree, I actually got two specializations. One is in zoology, and another one is in aquatic sciences. Through my last specialization, aquatic sciences, I actually got scuba certified for the first time. And ever since I first took my first breath underwater, I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. You were hooked. Definitely. Yes, I always want to be underwater for as long as I can, for sure. And then that got me acquainted with the Whale, Shark, and Oceanic Research Center in Utila, Honduras, that I am now the head of. And yeah, I've been here ever since.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Caitlin, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get involved? What started your passion in marine conservation?
So hi, everyone. My name's Caitlin. I'm the editor for the Sirene Project. So I first got interested into the field of marine biology when I was very young. So my family used to vacation to San Diego because it was the closest place with the ocean from the desert. And so I used to play in tide pools and stuff, and it just kind of stayed with me. And I decided to get my scuba certification in high school. And then I did a scuba trip, and that really solidified that fascination that I had with the ocean. And then I applied to colleges. I went to the University of Hawaii. And while I was there, I continued my diving career. I got my scientific diver certification. And then I didn't know what to do after my undergrad. So I saw a lot of jobs were looking for master's degrees. So I decided to pursue one. And I went to the University of Plymouth, which is in England. And wow. I have had sort of like a back and forth relationship with England for the past few years. And I have volunteered at a marine station in Scotland, and then done my master's, and I did a semester abroad as well. So.
Very good, very good. All three of you have one key aspect, and this is very important for all of our young ambassadors. volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Get your feet wet, get out there and try every other aspect to figure out where you fit in. Fantastic. So I did go over your website and I see that you have a lot of things going on and you're giving a lot of education and a lot of videos and a lot of things for people to check out. That's partly what we do at Marine Conservation, is that we connect people with a lot of other organizations. We educate them on what is going on, because like being out in Arizona, you know, you're landlocked and out of sight, out of mind. You don't know what's happening. You don't realize why it's important. So other than the obvious of what I've seen on their website, how else do you girls get in touch with other girls that want to be marine conservationists? How do you go about doing that and bringing them together and educating them?
So the Siren Project is like such a loving and supportive platform. A lot of our stuff is displayed through social media, so that's Tatiana's gig. And we kind of seek out people through that platform. But honestly, because it's so loving and supportive, once we've featured someone, they've usually kind of talked to their friends and want to lift them up, because, you know, women tend to have that community mentality. So
right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the three of you, I know that you three of you have seen Seaspiracy. You've seen Seaspiracy. It's big, controversial documentary that's out there about all the overfishing and all the things that are being done in other countries, not so much here in the States. I wanted to find out what your opinion was, because I know everybody's got their opinion. There's a lot of people that are criticizing it, but there's a lot of people that love it too. What is your opinion as far as the Seaspiracy, what they were talking about? And this could be either one of you. Any one of you can answer this. Andrea, what about you? What is your opinion on Seaspiracy?
So if I can say something about it, is I like how it has gotten people talking about the ocean, about the different problems that are happening. Like you said, shining a light on a lot of the things that a lot of people don't realize are going on our oceans. However, I do think that some of the topics were not addressed in a way that is all encompassing. I, for example, live on an island right in the middle of the Caribbean, where fisheries are a big part of people's livelihoods. And
Right.
A lot of times it is done on an artisanal level, it is done sustainably. People are aware of the resources around them. They know the reef, they know when to exploit a stock, or they know when to go for different species. So I think something that the film did was kind of vilify people that still eat fish or that still consume fish. And I think they should have maybe broadened up a little bit more on that, and how sometimes, depending on where you are, it can be still a sustainable activity, instead of just, you know, attempting to vilify people who still are doing that. But on the other hand, problems that definitely needed to be addressed, I think I'll give them that. It was definitely something that got people talking, maybe even interested, and also changing their lives, making lifestyle choices. I'm all for
Very
that.
true. Very true.
But yeah, I'm definitely torn between the two aspects of it.
And that makes a lot of sense. That's one of our focuses at Marine Conservation Network, is showing both sides of the story, both sides of the coin. A lot of people are either one way or the other, but if you show both, you can find an equal balance. That's very important that you said that. What about you, Tatiana? What did you get out of Seaspiracy when you saw the documentary?
I would have to agree with the same thing. I'm just on the same route as Andrea is going, that, you know, a shock factor could be a really good thing. You know, it wakes people up, it introduces people to the problems that they may not know that's going on, like especially if you're landlocked. I've had a lot of people come to the aquarium and just don't know how many different problems are out there. But I do feel like if you're not taking the time to properly, you know, discuss each of these topics accordingly with all the right resources, it could be very damaging. You know, we've, through social media, as a manager, going through and seeing how many people were not taking the time to fact check. A lot of what was in the documentary was very detrimental to hurting a lot of organizations that have put a lot of time and effort into, you know, making some changes in the community. And some people were just instantly, you know, getting really aggressive and attacking these organizations without taking the time to, go through and really understand what was being said. It's like Andrea said, living on an island, my family's from, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, and, fishing is very big there. If you're not taking the time to understand these other nations, their culture, traditions, and just the way how they do things, and you go in there barging, you're not really going to make a big change. Here in the United States, it's kind of easy to know what steps are needed to take necessarily to change, because we have a privilege of having all these different sources of food, but other countries don't have those other sources. So we have to kind of get down to that level and understand, okay, where is this coming from? Is it a cultural, is it a religious thing? Is it just what's provided for them? And really understand that, so we can make the right changes accordingly based on what's available to them, not what we think is happening because we have
exactly
those here.
That's why working with people like you and other people in other countries is very important, to get on the same line of understanding of what's important to them, cultural and, like you said, religious wise, but also what's good for the ocean. So finding that balance.
Yeah.
Caitlin, I'm going to go to you now. What is your opinion as far as Seaspiracy? What did you get out of it?
So I have a little bit of a different view. I agree that I think it's great that it's brought all these things to light to the general public. Like, I think for us being in an ocean community, we just kind of assume that all these people know this stuff because it's kind of like common knowledge to us at this point. Yeah. So it's great that some people who didn't realize like the severity of the situation are now able to understand that. But like, I'm a vegan, so I don't consume fish already, but I also think that, and this is made by like vegan people as well. So I think it's kind of made to be towards like a specific audience. And it's like people who do have that ability to be able to give up eating meat and stuff, because I know, it's not realistic for everyone to take that out of their diet. Like, some people are so dependent on that. But if you do have that like privilege, I guess, to be able to take that out of your life, then I think like you should.
Right, exactly. And you made a good point. It's not realistic for everybody, over 7.5 billion people in the world, to stop eating fish ever again. That's just not realistic. Man started living on the ocean many, many, many years ago. It's gotten out of control, but you're not going to go back to nothing. So you made a good point on that. So there's got to be some kind of compromise within there. With you girls working on the Siren Project, how has the Siren Project helped to shed light on the women in marine conservation? How have you gone about shedding light on all the women that are out there to encourage more women to become part of it? Tatiana, I'll go to you.
Sure. What I love about our channel that I feel like it's very unique about it is, not only does it highlight women of, all colors, all cultures, but importantly, just how each of them have found different ways to get active in the community. Growing up, I thought the only way you could ever get into marine conservation was being a scientist. And, not a lot of people have maybe an interest entirely in a science-based, career. There's so many other amazing ways to get involved. You could be an artist, you could be a diver, you could be an educator. And I feel like that's what's so amazing about our platform, is that we're showing how these women are finding their own unique way of getting involved. And I think it's going to be really good for, the younger generation to see this, because when I was growing up, I thought I had to be good at every science course in order to be a marine biologist. And I didn't get into college and I realized, no, everybody struggles with certain sciences. We're not all, built the same way, and we're all going to have a very unique and different way of getting involved. And that's really good to highlight that type of diversity. because then it's going to inspire, like I said, someone else that's going to be this like, okay, I know how I can get involved and I'm going to use it doing my way. So, and I think that's very
That's
important.
fantastic.
Brings people in, people start connecting. I love seeing comments where like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do this. And then they start reaching out to each other, and that's what we want. We want everybody to connect and find their own unique way in marine conservation.
Exactly. And that's the best part about social media is you can get on there and do your own thing and promote it the whole way that you want to promote it. The let's get this on. I'm sorry, I just had to came up on my video here. But what advice would the three of you give to young girls that do want to get into marine conservation and maybe create their own path? Andrea, how about you?
Yeah. Personally, I think it's really important to continue to inspire women and girls, especially the younger generations. And for me, it kind of hits a little bit close to home as well, because when I made the decision to major in biology and pursue a career in conservation, a lot of the I heard were like, oh, like you're never going to find a job. Like no one really works in that, especially in a country like Honduras. Working in conservation is perceived as like, something that's never going to become anything. So I heard a lot of those comments growing up from people that didn't really know me. And I also grew up seeing just like, usually like the stereotypical scientist was an older white man. Like that's what I was exposed to a lot of times.
Right.
So through the Siren Project, what I want to do is like keep encouraging girls. Do not be deterred by naysayers. Do not be deterred by negative comments, especially Latin girls, Latinas out there. Keep studying, pursue higher education, pursue your dreams. Just don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, because if I had listened to all of the negative comments that came my way when I was younger, I would not be where I am. And dream big.
Yes,
don't
exactly.
be afraid. That's something that for me it's really important, and I'm really happy that we're able to do that through the Siren Project, because we showcase young girls from all over the world who are doing amazing things, and they're not only scientists. They're artists, they're science communicators, they are designers, and they're just doing what they know how to do, what they love to do for the ocean. So it's just overall inspiring. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to introduce you girls to our young ambassadors. We have one girl in Sri Lanka and one girl in Florida. So we're definitely going to be introducing you to them, and they're phenomenal. They really are. What about you, Tatiana? What advice would you give to a young female entrepreneur that wants to be in marine conservation?
Similar lines of Andrea, be patient and, take your time, find your own pace into the field. Don't be deterred by everybody around you and what they're doing. You have your own unique, special way that you're going to get involved that is going to help you connect to the public and make a difference. And, if you find yourself struggling and you're not sure that you're on the right path, keep going. Don't give up. We all struggle. It's very hard to get into the field, but it's worth it. You're going to love it. And it's going to feel very empowering when you see that the efforts that you make, no matter how big it is, whether you're super famous scientist or whether you're just in the community, all of that makes a difference.
Very good. Very good. And lastly, Caitlin, what would you have to say to the girls that are wanting to be marine conservationists?
So I would say the first place to start is to find some way that you can get involved that brings you close to the ocean, to learn what types of things you actually like in the field, I guess. And unfortunately, that probably means doing volunteering, because there's so much of that in our field. Like, I wish it was more normal for you to get paid for these kind of opportunities, but here we are. But for me, like being in the desert, for me to feel close to the ocean, scuba has kind of been like the thing that's made me still feel a part of the ocean community. And then the Siren Project as well helps me feel like I'm still in the loop. So I'm really, really grateful to be on this team.
Well-
But yeah, I would just say, just get involved however you can. And like Andrea said, try to ignore what other people are saying
Yes.
to deter you
Please,
from it.
please ignore other people that are naysayers. I
Yeah,
experienced that myself when I was young. I was going to get into marine biology and all that when I was 18, and I listened to the wrong people. I eventually got back into it, but it deterred me and threw me off my path for a while. And you don't want to listen to people say no. Don't ever let anybody tell you cannot do anything, especially a woman. You can do anything you put your mind to. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate you joining us today. I'm sure that our young ambassadors are going to get a lot out of this, and we're going to introduce them to you so you guys can stay in touch. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And remember, guys, together we make oceans of difference. We'll talk to you later. Bye.